Hello, everybody. Welcome to our next or last or first interview. I'm really just not sure how these are going to air, but today, this segment, we've got the duo lane for console rival. We've got DineOhSaw and we've got Davy. How you guys doing?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm good. Likewise, thanks for having us.
Yeah, pleasure to have you guys on. Definitely wanted to give you guys a bit of the spotlight because I feel like you guys had been ragged on pretty hard, and more than your fair share. As you know, box guys, and then coming from EU box too, that's even worse.
Yeah, a little bit. Get a bit overlooked.
Yeah, definitely. And then you guys got like, what was it? 5 straight minutes of being shit on by the Esports Weekly show.
Oh yeah. We're hoping that no one saw that, but
Didn't get the information right either. That was the annoying part, but it's fine. It's fine.
So I mean, you guys have been. I mean, so you got Vaporish Coast as like the other EU team, but I think you guys for the last about year or so now have really been the EU squad. Traditionally, especially coming, the console scene has been the reverse of the PC scene, where EU's been stronger. EU's been the weaker side for console in that regards. But you guys kind of flipping the script. You guys, finding wins over, the NA World Champions at sometimes. Obviously losing out this last year on the reverse bracket run. But, you still guys make it a good run. How's it feel to kind of be the torchbearers for that EU side of things?
It's fantastic, honestly. After the World Championships last year, the rival team decided they wanted to make some roster changes, and I was dropped from the roster. And going into the start of Season 6, I made a new squad with Davy, which obviously we've had quite a lot of success with. So far so that a couple of the old rival team members came to join us, and the rival org was also interested in picking us up. And we've ended up on top.
That's always the best play, right? When you get proven right.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So this year you guys ended up the top team, right? You guys had a pretty good run. Obviously some, did you guys didn't run the gambit like so I know Hype Unit like lost one game. Did you guys go undefeated?
We lost a couple of games.
Oh, we lost. Yeah.
Was it one set?
We lost 2 sets, but the first one got put back into our favor because.
Oh yeah.
You guys also had some of the some controversy, right? You guys were like the account sharing stuff happened to you guys, like in scrims or something like that.
Yeah, as the other team, one of the players.
Yeah, the team that was mainly contesting us for first seed had one of their players slip into our scrims to find out what we're playing on another person's account the day before we were due to play them, and obviously we noticed something was up and reported it, and we went on to lose that set the next day, but it got flipped back into our favor when the account sharing was proven.
Okay, so you guys ended up doing pretty well, and then I'm assuming the second set loss was around the time of the roster swap.
Sorry,
I'll let
we won the first set after the roster swap. We 2-0'd them, and then we got 2-0'd, and then we won the other one, obviously. Yeah.
Okay. Kind of taking a step back, focusing on the roster. You guys had like a really strong squad, and then kind of seemingly out of nowhere, mid lane changes, ends up on the other team. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit about kind of what happened there, kind of thoughts, feelings on it, and like coming out of that with the new mid laner, Dobson, how you guys felt moving forward?
So the main reason I'd say for the change was personality clashes on the team. We'd all been, or Rapio, Preds, Fly, and I had all been on a team for about a year and a half prior to this season, and tensions had been building up between a couple of those players, and Fly decided that it was time for him to step down and moved over to the second seed team, and the next logical move for us was to pick up Dobson, which obviously also turned out well.
Yeah. You guys.
I think Dobson fits the team dynamic maybe better than Fly did. He's more. Fly's quite a self-centered player, and he justifies that with his play. But with the way our team works, it's better for us to have someone like Dobson who's a bit more aggressive, a bit more, or a bit less calculated, a bit more eager to die for the team
Mhm.
than to have someone with Fly's playstyle.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Replacing somebody, getting a different bit of a style. Obviously, you had to make the change, but the change ended up working out. You guys did finish, first for EU. Obviously, that's got to feel pretty good, I imagine. Having one of your players jump ship to the other team and still beating the other team. That's always a good feeling.
Yeah, we're hoping it would turn out that way.
Yeah.
We clearly made the right choice on the replacement mid laner.
Yeah.
So you guys have to deal with like the double whammy of, everybody kind of looks down on console, but then being EU team, they look down on you even more. Going into MSI, how does it feel to be like the double underdog?
It's a lot of comfort, I feel. If we show up and we get absolutely stomped and lose the first set and we're out, then no one expected more. But I feel like we do have the potential, especially with Sanguine missing their solo laner for their coach due to some visa issues. I think we have a really good chance of at least winning the first set, which would reflect quite well on us, I'd hope.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of talked to a couple people in the same position, in a console team, and they're like, yeah, there's not really any pressure. Nobody expects us to do anything, so if we don't, it doesn't matter. But I feel like that almost because of your guys' position in the Smite community, coming from the console community, you guys almost have to do something. You guys have to win, or else it's like no one's gonna take you serious ever, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
There is some pressure on that front, but like you've said, it goes both ways. So
The perception is probably not like perception probably won't change if we lose, but obviously for us it's bad if we lose. Like just mentally, innit? Prefer to win.
So I know I've talked to some some other console teams. Leading into MSI and everything, they did a lot of scrimming with PC teams. Is that something you guys have done? Obviously, you guys are in EU. The EU scene is it's not dead, but it's not the strongest it's ever been. You've got your EU SML teams, but you don't really have much outside of that. Have you guys found it harder to get quality scrims, or because the EU scene is so small in Smite right now, has that kind of enabled you guys to use crossplay to your advantage and get more and better scrims?
It's been quite a challenge, honestly. The two top SML teams that are going have obviously been scrim partners leading up to this event. They don't scrim too often, and they've mainly just played each other. The bottom two SML teams, apart from one set that we played the other day against Outcold, haven't been playing scrim since the end of the split. So we've been playing a selection of combine teams, which has been good practice. We found it a lot more productive than playing console teams. And I hope that shows through in our play.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that's big, that is a big talking point going into MSI for the console squads is the ability for you guys to use mouse and keyboard. I think all of Hype Unit is making that switch, and they're all using mouse and keyboard. Are you guys kind of following the same way, or are any of you guys still using a controller at the LAN?
I'll let Davy take.
Yeah, me and Dobson are using controller, and then DineOhSaw, Rapio, and Preds are using mouse and keyboard.
Really, I feel like that's really interesting. I feel like there's like a couple people who I would expect to use like a controller. Like I think Preds, like your solo laner doesn't need to use a mouse and keyboard. Like the movements you make on a controller are pretty similar to your mouse and keyboard. But as an ADC opting into the controller, I mean that's kind of ballsy.
Yeah. No, I've never played mouse and keyboard before. Like I could have tried to learn it, but I just feel like even if I learned it for like 6 weeks, I still would have been better on controller than I would on mouse and keyboard. So
okay, and then
also I don't
go ahead.
I don't think we're gonna lose down to mechanics or out. I just think it's gonna be like depending on how good we are as a team on the day, pretty much. That's my opinion.
Okay, I mean it's a lot. I personally I like seeing that people are going to be using the controllers, right? It feels more genuine to me. Having everybody switch to mouse and keyboard when they can't use mouse and keyboard for, league play, online stuff, like that feels really weird to me. And then you're kind of switching the message when you go to LAN. I don't know. How did you guys feel about that when that kind of announcement came through?
Initially, I thought it was great news because Rappy and I came from PC, so we're quite comfortable with mouse and keyboard. Preds was very eager to pick one up because he's kind of played it sporadically and found a lot more success with the mouse and keyboard. I know, like you said, with a solo laner, it's not, the mechanics aren't the be all and end all. The movement's kind of similar, but he much prefers playing with the mouse and keyboard, and he's like come ahead leaps and bounds with his mechanics. But it seemed like a bit of an odd decision because there's no real console teams at this event anymore, so to speak, because everyone that can use a mouse and keyboard is obviously going to opt into that. So it's almost like Hype Unit, for example, they're no longer a console team. They're just another either combine or minor league team because they're all using mouse and keyboard.
I'm pretty sure in every team, every console team, there's at least 2 players using. I'm pretty sure on the PS4 EU team, 2 of them using mouse and keyboard. I think, or 1.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. And then everyone, I'm pretty sure both the NA box and PS4 team are using all M and K. I think.
Yeah.
Obviously 3 of us. It's pretty weird, I think. But
do you think that like Hi-Rez, skill shot, whatever, is kind of trying to move towards everybody using mouse and keyboard? Do you think? Because I mean, you look at like other MOBAs or MOBA-esque games that are on the consoles, or at least were, like Paragon comes to mind. They had mouse and keyboard support on the PS4, so no matter, and crossplay. So no matter where you were, you had the same experience. There wasn't really the divide that we have in Smite. Do you think we're trying to move forward towards a more homogenous experience with the crossplay involved, and then maybe getting mouse and keyboard enabled for just regular play?
I think so. I think at the start of the Season 6 patch notes, Ajax or one of the development team mentioned that they were looking into getting mouse and keyboard support for consoles. I think on a competitive level, it's just for this season specifically, when crossplay is so new, it's just a case of leveling the playing field, because obviously having a mouse and keyboard is such an advantage. It would be a bit unfair to not offer the same.
Do you think?
But then, other side of the coin, we are console teams. Does it not make sense to have us using controllers?
I also think we should just be allowed. So like, if it's going to be allowed at LAN, I feel like it should just be allowed in the split as well. But
right, yeah, because it's 2 different messagings. Like, oh, you can't do it here.
Sense, yeah.
Oh, until the games actually matter, then you could use them.
Yeah,
like you practice it for this many weeks, and then you have to change, and then change it back again. It just don't make sense to me. But.
And this is like the first year too, as far as I know, there's no console specific like LAN or event for spring or summer, right? So does that kind of feel weird to you guys too, that you guys have become like you said, like there's no difference than you or a Combine or SML team at this point?
Yeah, it's a bit, I'd say honestly, I found it a bit disappointing, because for us console teams that have been playing, I've been to probably 5 or 6 LAN events over the past 2 years, and every single LAN event we play against a similar mix of NA players that have formed teams. Hype stayed the same for about 2 years or a year and a half, but it's always nice to see how you measure up against the other console teams, and we're not going to get that this summer at least, and possibly not this fall.
Yeah, I mean, are you guys, is there, as far as I know, is there like any actual word on a Smite console world championship, or is it going to be you guys also feeding into, is it just the world championship now? Like, I haven't heard anything on that.
I don't think we've had anything.
No clue.
Either.
I have no clue. I hope it's just console, and then whatever they want to do after that. But I hope there's a console specific one. But we'll see.
In my eyes, the ideal scenario is a console world championships dedicated to console, same as last year. And then if they want to give an option for maybe the top 2 teams to play into a play-in bracket afterwards for the proper world championships, then that might make sense if they wanted to push crossplay into the world championships as well. But then obviously the console World Championships would have to happen beforehand,
Yeah.
which could throw a spanner in the works. I don't know how they'd work that out, but that's just my take on a possible option.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, the more we talk about it, the more we kind of break it down. It just, who knows what we're really doing with the console scene, and if they add mouse and keyboard, what's to just add you guys kind of into the fold of SML, right? Or even, I guess, Combine, but that would kind of be shitty. I don't know.
Yeah, Combine, I mean, that would obviously be a step down for our players that have been playing in a guaranteed league.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were to put mouse and keyboard support on console, then it only really makes sense to merge the minor leagues, or well, obviously everyone would have to play, but it would have to be a fresh playing field with no free spots given, apart from maybe the top 2 minor league teams, and everyone else would have to play for it. And honestly, I don't think many console teams would make it, if any at all. But that's just Europe.
Yeah, I mean, you and Vaporish Coast, right? Like that's like the big teams. That's it, right? Like you. Yeah. But I mean, in A2, like you look at the box community. It's like, well, it was Astral Authority winning everything for like 2 years, and then Myth won, and then you guys kind of started winning some stuff. But other than that, like there's always one team at the top, and then maybe across the region there's another one, and the other, like the number 2 team is there but not really. I don't know. It feels very much, in the early days of the PC scene, right? You guys are still growing and maturing, and then to now kind of kill off the community as you guys are making that step, it feels weird.
Yeah, obviously console's been a couple of years behind on community development compared to PC, and I feel that I don't know what the casual player base is like numbers wise, but the competitive player base, I think, was slowly growing close together between the regions and in their own region individually, and it is a bit of a disappointment again to have crossplay kind of remove all console to console play on an international stage. But
do you think
in my opinion, crossplay is an upgrade?
Do you think having so many console players jump ship to try to go to PC and then fail kind of hurt the scene at all?
It's hard to say, because most of them ended up coming back, so not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I just think of like, people, after Astral Authority was winning everything, and then you had like almost the whole team try to go up, and you look at, I think Brochacho is probably like the best example, right? Everybody had so much good things to say about his support play in the console leagues. Like, okay, that should 1-to-1 come up to PC play, and then flamed out in like the first round of open bracket, like.
Yeah.
So
just roughing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was gonna let you take that one, but yeah, it's console players, generally speaking, just don't measure up. It's not through lack of talent; it's just lack of good constant competition, because teams fluctuate and people like leave, come back, teams disband, and especially with the addition of the PS4 League, a lot of the good competition. This is mainly speaking for NA, but a lot of the good competition kind of jumped ship rather than having to put the effort in. They moved to PS4 to guarantee their first seed spot.
Yeah, it's hard to fight with that. You either get the guaranteed spot, or maybe you have to fight, and there's a super team that's now in NA. Definitely not.
You can't blame them, but
no, definitely not. If you're in their shoes, you'd take the guaranteed spot, wouldn't you? But
I mean, at that point, you're losing competition. You switch to PS4, you don't get cross-play. So then if you do scrims, you have to go back to Xbox. And then you're not getting, practice on a controller that you'll be using. But then I guess you're not getting practice on the controller you're using anyway, because you're going to mouse and keyboard. It's all kind of a mess at this point.
Yeah, I think a lot of these issues will get ironed out over the next 6 months or so.
I mean, here's hoping. I definitely want to see you guys continue to exist and grow. I think, looking back to like the first LAN, right? You look at like, when the PC pros with Weekend came down and kicked everyone's ass, and then where you guys are now. I don't think that could happen. I think you guys have like definitely, the scene has created its own meta and its own stuff, and the ability that you have on a controller you can't just come up and pick that up now on day one.
No, it's obviously the skill gap has grown, and game knowledge doesn't, or pure game knowledge and experience playing on a mouse and keyboard doesn't really make the cut anymore, I don't think. Obviously, they'd be miles ahead in terms of tactics, but I think if there are any middle to lower end SPL players that wanted to move down, they wouldn't have as easy a time as they did previously.
Okay, looking at MSI specifically, is there any team you're looking at, more than anybody else that you kind of want to play?
If we obviously the only team I wanted to play from when we first made the team at the start of the season before crossplay came out was Hype, obviously, but I don't think we'll be able to play them, but we'll see.
I mean,
I
Simplicity
think
the best team there.
Yeah, we're expecting Simplicity to fly through the bracket without any issues at all, which is obviously a problem for us because we'd play them in the second round after Sanguine. And in order to play Hype, which for the past year and a half have been our biggest competitor internationally, it's just not really, it's possible, but extremely unlikely that we both make it through 2 SML teams to get there to play each other.
Do you think you or Hype Unit have a chance of making the finals for that first phase of competition?
I think Hype have the better chance. I think they have now Flashpoint might not be able to make their mid come either, and obviously Armada don't scrim, I'm pretty sure. So I think Hype have the best chance, and I hope they can make a run. So
I think we have a
good chance of beating Sanguine, but Simplicity
I think Sanguine will be some good games, but speaking from scrim experience and watching them play other SML teams, Simplicity are kind of 2 levels ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely took a minute to find their footing, but at the end of the year they were really just crushing it. And then you guys, obviously they were scrimming the other top team. They were scrimming Flashpoint, so it kind of leaves you guys out in the cold, getting the scraps whenever you can. But I'm excited to see how excited to see you play against Sanguine. Obviously, it sucks that their solo laner won't be there, so it'll be not 100% Sanguine strength. But seeing Hype Unit go up against Flashpoint, that's a fun game to me. But again, they're also not at 100%, right? So then we see Hype and Armada, and then you guys in Simplicity. I really would love to see. I've been saying this for a while. I saw you guys scrim a PC team way back at the beginning of the year or something like that, and liked a lot of what I saw. And I think you guys definitely have a lot of potential. Watching your guys' scrim really made me pay more attention and get a lot more excited for the MSI event where they would be, console versus PC. I'm definitely looking forward. I think Pred has been an amazing solo, and I'm really excited to see him go up against Maniac. And then Rapio's been killing it in the jungle as well. Like you said, he's been playing PC. He's been playing at a high level there and on console. So seeing what he's able to do, and then with Dobson, seeing how he handles the lane, and then you guys, how you kind of hold down the duo lane against PC, especially as a controller user. I'll be paying very close attention to how that duo lane goes.
I'm pretty confident in my ability, but on the controller, I don't really mind too much.
Yeah. I don't want to give a lot away, so I won't say too much. But speaking from the scrims we've had, the controller for both Davy and Dobson hasn't been much of a hindrance. They've both been really solid performers.
All right, that's what I like to hear. I'm excited to see you guys play. Say you do, we get, the console finals, you and Hype Unit run the gamut. You guys run through Armada and Simplicity and make it to the next day. What would it be like for you guys as a console team to then play, obviously, say you finish first, you're playing. It's a rival versus rival game. Or you guys finish second, you're against Dig. You know, playing against the best SPL teams. What would that kind of mean to you guys?
The opportunity, yeah, massive. Obviously, all those players are players we've looked up to for years, and the opportunity to even get 1 or 2 games against them would be fantastic. The amount you could learn from that is incredible.
Ridiculous.
But obviously, there'd be some very one-sided affairs, but I expect it to still be like that even against the SML teams. So.
See, now you gotta have some confidence. You gotta say we're at least on par with the SML teams, right? You gotta come out.
Yeah.
With that
Sorry.
bravado.
Yeah, we are at least.
At least, you know?
At least on par.
I actually think Simplicity might be able to do something, but yeah, I think they're the only team that could have a chance. I don't think it's a big chance against rival or Dig, but I think they have a chance.
Yeah, I mean they've got the SPL talent, right? I mean they are SPL players who came down to the SML, so I mean it makes sense when they get to land that they maybe can do something. And I'm sure they were also, because of who they are, maybe getting some scrims against some SPL talent whenever they can. Yeah, I guess not now because the region, but I think Simplicity was getting scrims before Renegades moved over, though, is what I was hearing.
Yeah,
right?
they scrim Renegades like 40 times, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard them say. I think something like that, yeah.
So, should be a really interesting event. I mean, besides the games, is there anything that like you're looking forward to? Is it kind of, a shame that the console boys aren't gonna be there in full force? I've heard stories, I've talked to Mifflin and he's given me like the best rundown ever of what happens at the lands, and it sounds like a great time. I mean, obviously, what was it, like 2 years ago, watching the was it the summer finals or the fall, whatever event that led into like the one team getting knocked out of being able to go to Worlds.
Saw versus was it Saw?
Kaz, wasn't it?
Saw versus Kaz.
Yes. I mean, watching that was like some of the best Smite experience. Maybe not the best Smite games, but like the experience of watching was amazing.
Yeah, that was we lost the previous set, and all of our players left in a bad mood after our set, and we all wished we'd stayed in the studio for that. I don't know if you saw the footage on Twitter.
Yeah, I was watching.
Like 100, 200 people all in the studio jumping up, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. So is it going to be a little bit of a disappointment that like that box feeling is not going to be here for this next LAN?
Yeah, a little bit, honestly. Xbox is a bit less professional. I'd say a bit more fun, which is always great. But with the amount of time that we're starting to put in, or all the box teams are starting to put in, I think taking steps forwards to being more professional is also great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the questions I really have. Is there anything that you guys want to say? Anything that I didn't really touch on or give you a chance to speak out on?
Nothing comes to mind, no. Do you have anything?
Not really. No, not really.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. Obviously, shout outs to Rival the org for being such a good org to you guys.
Yeah, they're insane.
Yeah, definitely. They take great care of us.
Yeah, and best of luck in MSI. I really want to see you guys do well. I want to see Davy hit as many autos as Polar Bear Mike hits Fafnir hammers. So 100%.
100%.
All right.
Thank you very much for having us on.
Yep. Thanks for coming on, guys. And, like I said, best of luck.
Thanks,
Thank you. See you later.